Awesome. So welcome everybody. This is the Australian Hypnosis Conference and I am Trish Pellin. First, I'd like to thank Justine Leddy for sponsoring us with the Golden Thread Protocol and Releasing Trauma. And one of Justine's friends is Dawn Grace Kelly, who's going to be talking about past life regression. Tell us more, because there's so much controversy around this topic, Dawn, and I think it's amazing.
I think it's amazing too. Look, past life regression has been in my world for about 30 years now. And I'm kind of a big one for being eclectic as a therapist and just pulling all our tools in and just working quite intuitively on the day.
Yes.
Yeah, I do like that. Yet this modality is, I don't know. See, I've pulled from so many different modalities for all of my work, but this particular modality, I've only changed it a little bit, and I leave it as it is because it is so goddamn good.
Yes.
And the reason I keep coming back to this is because I think as light workers or therapists, healers, we need to be able to get to the root of our clients' physical problem or their emotional or psychological problem or their spiritual problem.
Yeah.
We need to get to the core of it. And there's usually, there's often some stuff between the core of it and where we're sitting in the chair today that needs to be done. But I tell you, when you get to the actual root of what happened, transformation is what occurs. And having done this for decades, it's like, this works.
Yes, just do it. It works.
It works. Look, basically we've got every issue we've got has got a core somewhere.
Yeah.
And whether that's last week or last year, and often, of course, in our childhood, it can be in the womb and it can be in another time. And whether you believe in past lives or not is completely irrelevant because it works.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a gentleman once come up to me and he's like, past life isn't real. And I'm like, what happened 2 seconds ago? Isn't that a past life? And he just went, I was like, yeah, past life is real, because like literally 1 second ago is past life. Like,
that's right. You've got it. It totally is. And so I'm not so fussed about where we go. And we do often go to past lives, and I work multidimensionally. Sometimes we're on another planet. Sometimes we're in another dimension. Sometimes we're working on what happened last week, and of course we're often in childhood. But more and more, with this consciousness expansion and awakening that we're fully in now more than ever before, our wounds that are our past wounds, wherever they're from, that are getting in the way of us moving forward and becoming more authentic beings, are coming forward for us.
Yes.
So, and I, knowing a lot of hypnotherapists as I do, it's coming up in the chair for people who are not, for therapists that are not trained in past life regression. It's like, this is all happening. Everybody needs to know how to do this.
And they do, because so many therapists also think that there's an ABC, XYZ system, and they need that bit of training, that bit of networking, just to go with their intuition to help guide their client.
They absolutely do. It's one of those funny enigmas, Trish, because you've got to have the training to be able to let go of the training, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like you've got to be untrained as such. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. I love that. So when did you come across this and start resonating with it?
Yeah, back in my 20s, which was like a past life ago, ages ago.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. I was raised by a metaphysical student, really. My mother's an astrologer, so esoteric teachings have always been around me, but it wasn't until my late 20s that I started getting a bit more interested. But, somewhere there through my 20s, I was reading all the books, Brian Weiss, Dolores Cannon, and obviously this was fascinating. I always had a spiritual bent, of course. And I felt blessed when we came upon that time when I was living in Perth in Australia, where I saw it advertised. And I thought this was just some cool thing that happened overseas. This is back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I raced off and had experienced 3 past lives in that first session and continued to see her, because it was just so exciting to me, this feeling of being out of my body and the sense I was making from what happened then and how that was getting in the way now. And then her teacher was coming over to Perth to teach it, so I eagerly signed up for that first workshop. And unfortunately or fortunately, he died 2 weeks before he was due to arrive, which is just so.
He just went to his next dimension. He's got to do his
I know
teaching there.
it's just so past lifey, you know, and I'm in contact with him. I mean, I'm in contact with him in spirit.
And you're just like, oh, you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're off. I get it. It's all about death and
Yep.
rebirth and the other side. So his student who I was seeing for my regressions, she started a school in Perth at the time, and I was in her first trainings. So it became part of my practice. I'm a spiritual healer. In fact, I was a flight attendant, another past life in this life. And I was learning that while I was a flight attendant based in Perth, and I left that career to start teaching and sharing this work more. But yeah, past life is one of the things I share. But you know, like I say, so exciting now because people are coming more and more for these spontaneous experiences that are happening to them. They're trying to make sense of that, or they can't get to the root of feeling stuck.
Or that sense of deja vu when you meet someone and like, I know you, but I don't know you. Like,
it's such a strong feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fascinating. Or even myself, like, because I believe in like, you know, multi-dimensional lives and all that sort of thing. And it's like, well, when you're asleep, if you don't wake up, how do you know you're asleep?
Yeah, I mean, these are deep questions, and I'm into all of that deep stuff. Yeah. So I use this work for therapeutic purposes, and you can use it for curiosity. And I think my students like to pair up and do some of that kind of stuff. But as far as therapy goes, it's incredible, absolutely incredible. So being able to get someone into a past life is pretty easy when you've got some skills around that.
Yeah.
But knowing how to do the therapeutic work to bring the transformation and how that makes sense. Yes. So it is a whole other thing again, which is quite exciting.
Wonderful.
And it's making me just think about something that's really helpful to know is that it's what we take with us when we die is what we're working on. So, you know, one of the key things when I'm teaching this work is having a look at the thoughts and feelings that are with us through the dying process. Yeah. Because those fear-based thoughts and feelings is what travels with us into the fifth dimension. Yeah. And we, of course, seek to resolve that because we haven't made peace with that. I mean, if we're all sweet and love and light, then we're all good. But we're looking for those things, like we often die with guilt or shame or anger or resentment or jealousy or all sorts of things. Yeah. And through some psychotherapeutic work, while we're still in the altered state, we get to learn how that's affecting us now and how that aspect of our higher self that hasn't ascended is still in our energetic pattern saying, you know, don't go by the water because it's dangerous kind of thing. Yeah. And of course we think that it's us. So there's quite a therapeutic aspect and a spiritual healing aspect to the work as well.
Beautiful.
As well as karmic clearings. You know, we do karmic clearing work with people that we realize that we're in the past life, that in our current life, and if we have an adverse relationship with them today, then there's a process we can do to shift that and the relationship changes. It's pretty magic work, pretty deep transformational work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So for those of you that are curious, Dawn is going to be teaching it at the AHC. She's going to be giving you some tidbits and showing you off some stuff. And if you really want to dive a bit deeper, you can do her post-conference training. So jump on it. Thank you, everybody, for joining in on this video. And Dawn, I can't wait to meet you, darling.
Thank you for talking to me. And I'm so excited to be coming and sharing all the cool stuff.
Yeah, awesome. All right, lovelies. I will catch everybody in the future. Book in for your AHC and jump onto Dawn's training as well. See you, everybody.